What is equity? People seem confused about equity. Some claim equity means the equality of outcomes and are calling instead for an equality of opportunity. Others see the call for equity as a socialist plot meant to destroy society. Amongst those who profess ignorance on the issue are even people like Senator Bernie Sanders, who should know better. So it helps to quote and watch, it's below in the description, Senator Sanders' exchange with Bill Maher in detail, because it is very instructive of the confusion around the issue. Now, so this is on overtime, and Bill Maher reads an audience question. Are we confusing equality of opportunity with trying to guarantee equity in outcomes? Now Bill Maher responds, I think this word equity has come into the language in the last few years, and before that we didn't hear it a lot. And I think a lot of people hear equity and they hear equality like it's the same word, but it's not the same word and the same concept. So how would you differentiate between equity and equality? Sanders responds, well, equality, we talk about it. I don't know what the answer to that is. Equality is equality of opportunity. Bill Maher then, equity, I think, is more of a guarantee of outcome, is it not? Sanders, yeah, I think so. So, says Maher, which side do you come down on? Sanders, equality. So this was on Real Time with Bill Maher, March 3rd, overtime. Now, it is instructive to see how the deliberate misframing of equity by Maher is guarantee of outcome, and how this prompts Sanders to agree with him, which points to a strange acceptance of this distortion of the concept. Bill Maher presents a forced choice here, equality versus equity, and Sanders, strangely, rejects equity. But this is a forced choice and a forced framing. Like a lot in the discourse against diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, DEIB, the counter-positioning of equity versus equality suffers from a resistance to understanding what these concepts actually mean and stand for. Diversity is a fact of nature. We're all different. We all have things about us that people couldn't like or use as reason to discriminate against. It's what we are. Inclusion is the core value of American society, whether or not the United States has always lived up to it. That's what e pluribus unum means, out of the many, one nation. And belonging is again a very American value, representing traditional concepts of community and democracy. So now, what is the distinction between equity and equality? The core Enlightenment idea that everyone is born equal points to political equality. Everyone by nature, by being born, has the same political rights, the same liberties, the same guarantees. Famously, life, liberty, and property. The latter is the Lockean term, or in its American rephrasing, pursuit of happiness. So this political equality, of course, does not mean a negation of difference. We are still different. We are not the same. So we are politically equal, or should be, even though we are unequal in reality. So it's a demand. It's a right we have. It's not a description of reality. So while we may believe that we all should have the same rights, that doesn't mean that we are the same. We are all different. These differences pertain to biology, wealth, ethnicity, skin color, status, religion, race, class, caste, gender, age, a variety of circumstances, some of which you may be able to change over time, others that you won't be able to change, and some you may change, but others won't accept that change. But notwithstanding these differences, all citizens have the same rights if you live in a democratic country. They're equal in a political sense. So how do we make political equality work in practice? How do you make all these different people politically equal? So how do we ensure this political demand translates realistically into an equality of opportunity? And this is exactly where equity comes in. Equity is not, or shouldn't be, about guaranteeing outcomes, but about guaranteeing an equality of opportunity. It is about leveling the playing field so that a theoretical equality can be achieved in practice. Equity is the tool that gets us to equality of opportunity. The notion of an equality of outcomes is both preposterous and silly. Of course, that cannot be guaranteed, and is not something demanded by diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. Proponents for equity typically call for making sure that no hidden barrier, or no obvious barrier, exists anymore, preventing the inclusion of people of color, of women of different gender identities, of people with disabilities, of people considered either too old or too young, of people with different ethnic background, different religious beliefs, etc. It's about overcoming anything that stands in our way to have same political rights. That's all it is. In the end, this is about both fairness and democracy. Equity calls for making sure that our democratic promise actually holds true for all, and that barriers can be overcome which are still preventing people from actually being able to exercise their politically desired equality of opportunity. That's all. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. Philipp Kneis. This is Erratic Attempts, and see you soon.